Hi, happy Monday. Hope everybody's having a good day and a good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon here in the UK and it is freezing. I am so cold. We've actually had a little bit of snow about lunchtime. So I don't know what it's like where you are, but it is absolutely freezing here. I just give everybody a minute or two to sort of find us and come on. So I am really cold. Hi Tracy, hi Sue, hi Sue. I shall just put my little banner up to let everybody know what we are sewing today. Making the Annabelle. You can see I've got a fair few behind me here by SiahSwag. So thank you very much to Keziah for allowing me to use the pattern on my live today. I'm absolutely, I just love this pattern. I just love it. It comes together so well. The pattern pieces just come together so beautifully. I have made a little tiny tweak, which I'll show you. It wouldn't be me if I didn't make a little tiny tweak, but it's literally just in the zipper placket. But other than that, I'm doing exactly how the pattern is. Tracy's saying it is freezing cold there. Hi to Donna. Sue saying it's cold but bright. Yeah, it's quite bright here, but I think that makes it colder. Hi Rita. Hi Elaine. Donna's saying she's just got to attach the lining to the outer on hers. I did see a picture of yours, Donna. It's looking fantastic. So let's just take my banner off and take my name off because we all know what I'm called now. Sue saying, I'm extremely happy today. My bag from Matt is finished and will be on its way soon. Oh, I'm very excited to see that finished bag. So I'll run through the pattern pieces and the bit hardware. It doesn't really take much hardware. I have already done my strap because, I mean, you don't need to see me sew on the strap. I do have a tutorial on doing crossbody straps, but I've literally just sewn it exactly the same way. I've just made it shorter. Hi Barbara, hi Susan. So I'll click over onto the other screen. So I've, like I say, already made my strap and I made it two-tone. So I've made it with wool on one side and the vinyl on the other. So there is two lobster clasps that went with the strap. I basically made it using the same measurements. I just haven't attached it inside of the bag. I am making it detachable, basically so that I can put on a chain or the strap dependent on. So my outer piece is wool, well, a wool blend. You'll have seen this in some of my other bags. I've used this a fair bit. I'm literally down to the last little bits of this fabric, but I just had enough to make one of these. So this is a wool blend. I have used foam out of the seam allowances, and I've interfaced exactly how Keziah did in her cutting video, and used some interfacing over the foam to sort of secure it down. So you have two of these pieces, and then you have these little accent pieces. These are in vinyl, some green vinyl, and I've got mine marked right and left because I don't know my right from my left. As Andy will testify when I'm directing them anywhere. So you have two right, two left, and then these are attached onto the main piece and top stitched and basted on. So I've already done one side. So you will have two of these on the right and two of these on the left. So make sure that you cut out in the mirror, like that you're cutting out 2 of each and that you're not cutting out 4 of the same size. Hi Pam, hi Sophie. John is saying, I use the scraps of Yorkshire tweed. Amazing. I then have my gusset piece, which is vinyl and stabilized with Decaville out of the seam allowances. I think I've said on a previous live when I've used this this vinyl in the past, it is quite thick, so I don't use it excessively in any of my bags. I literally use it for small pieces, because if I try to use this vinyl to create a full bag, it's too thick. Sophie's asking mirror image. So basically you have a right and a left pattern piece, so you need to make sure that you cut 2 right and 2 left, because if you cut all 4 exactly the same, they won't fit. So yes, so this is stabilized out of my seam allowances, and then I have the corresponding piece in my lining fabric, which is just a cotton and has been interfaced with a woven interfacing. I then have my other lining pieces, which are my main panel pieces, 2 of, both interfaced with woven interfacing. I've played a little bit of Tetris to use up the last of my interfacing. My slip pocket piece, which again has just been interfaced with some woven interfacing. I have marked down the sides as per the pattern instructions already, and just put some double-sided tape just inside that line already prepped. And then I have my slip pocket accent piece, which I have marked a line down the center and just put some double-sided tape on either side. I have my strap connector. I have tapered my edge in ever so slightly, because I'm going to try something which I saw on another video. I've literally just took a tiny little sliver from about 1 inch down on the edge, marked the center and put some double-sided tape on. I'm using 1 inch hardware. The pattern calls for 3/4 inch hardware, but I'm using 1 inch. So I've just adjusted my my strap connector piece to 2 inches wide, so that it fits the 1 inch hardware. I also, hardware wise, have a zipper end. I have a zipper pull, my number 5 zipper, which I have cut to the measurements in the pattern, and then I have my zipper panel or zipper placket pieces, however you want to refer to them. And this is where I have made a slight deviation. So instead of cutting 4, I have cut 2, and basically I'm just going to do it on the fold. So how I've done that is I've took my pattern piece, I removed the seam allowance from one side and then doubled that measurement, so, and then cut it out, and I have marked as per the instructions on either side and put on some double-sided tape. So in order to do it on the fold, which is how I'm going to do it, I took the single piece, removed the seam allowance from one side, not both, just one side, and then doubled the measurement and cut it out. Didn't change the measurement of the width, it was only the length. And that's how I did that. sorry, my camera device has just decided to start and act up. Let me just bring it up on my other phone. Apologies, it does not seem to like working on this phone at the moment. I don't know whether the phone itself is just old and doesn't like to be used. So let me just set up the other one. There we go. Right, so what I'm going to do first of all is pop on my accent pieces. So like I say, I have a left and I have a right. That's right, isn't it? Left and right, yeah. Let's just bring my trolley over so I'm not twisting and hurting my back. I'm just going to use a little bit of tape. How's my mum doing? She's okay. I'll post in the club group when we're done, but she's all right. Hi Cynthia. Donna's saying I did the same following what you did on other bags. Yeah, it is my preferred. It is my preferred method. So on the right hand side, just making sure that I get it the right way around. It's that way. Just lining it up and using a little bit of double-sided tape to keep it in place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to top stitch around the top edge, which is the edge that's going to be visible, and then just come around the other edge as well and just baste it in place to keep it secure. And I have got a new foot on my machine for anybody who watches my videos regularly. I normally use a zipper foot, but I have just got my skinny foot, so I'm trying it for the first time. I do so, I'll just come onto this camera. I do so on a Jack H2 walking foot machine. I am using a Tex 45 thread, which I get from Little Stitcher Sews, and I'm using a number 19 needle, mainly just because that vinyl that I'm using is a little bit on the thick side. So I'm using a 19 needle just to make sure that I can get through everything with me using wool and foam and what have you as well. So like I say, I'm going to top stitch round this edge. My top stitch is 4.5. And then I'm just going to baste within the seam allowance. Afternoon, Jilly. Afternoon, Janet and Sabine. Hello. Donna saying I would never have had the courage to change things before I found you in the club. Yeah, I just change things constantly. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to do that differently. So that is the accent pieces on. You'll notice that I have marked my centers. I've done that on all of my pattern pieces. I am just going to add in my nameplate now. Let me just get one out. Shall I use it? I'm going to use a bit of Decaville as well. Why not? I know I've got the foam there to help secure it in place, but why not use Decaville as well? So in the pattern, Siah does give you the measurement of placing the nameplate at sort of 3 inches up. Obviously you can place it wherever you like, but I actually really like that placement. I think it looks really nice, and that is where I'm going to put mine. So I'm just going to measure that. I'm going to use a different pen because I can't see that very well. That's better. So I know which on this washer which holes that my prongs go through, so I've just marked them. And I'm just going to mark a little piece of Decaville as well. It probably would be secure enough with the foam, but I just want to make sure that I'm securing this hardware as much as I possibly can. And I do always like to use a little bit of glue behind my hardware as well, just to help really attach it. John is saying, my size 18 needles arrived after the weekend. Ordered after your top stitching masterclass. Made it so much easier. Don't manage to break one on my Annabelle. Oh wow, that's good going. I'm just about to say I can't remember the last time I broke a needle, but watch me break one now. Jilly's saying, this is an exciting life for me. Me too. I'm so excited to do this one. Go and have a go at this bag on my Singer heavy duty. I managed to make a mini NCW at the weekend, and now I feel like Superwoman. Wow. Yeah, I do love a mini NCW. It is one of my faves. Sue saying, so glad you finally got your foot. Yes, it did take a while. Trying to find one for the HD. I don't know whether I've seen it. A skinny foot. What type of foot are you looking for, Sue? Now I'll see if I can remember anywhere that I might have gotten some from mine. Elaine says, remind me of the craft knife that you're using. It's just one from my website. It's just a precision seam ripper. That was hard to say. So just make sure that that's lined up nicely. So this will be my front. And I'm going to work on my strap connector. I might be doing this out of order to the pattern, but I'm kind of just going in order of the pattern pieces that are next to me. So I'm just going to fold in these edges, long edges, to this center. So like I say, this vinyl is on the thick side. I bought it blind. I bought it without sort of knowing what it was like. I basically got sent a picture of the colour and I was like, yep, I'll have that. But it is a little bit difficult to work with. So it's sometimes a little bit difficult to stick down because it wants to sort of ping back up. But I manage. I just do find that as long as I don't use like a big amount of it, as I just kind of use it as accent pieces or sort of like say gussets, that sort of thing, it is fine. But sometimes, like I say, because it is a little bit on the sort of like thick sort of robust side, it wants to kind of ping back up. Elaine saying, found using a roller on seems invaluable. Yeah, I use my roller loads. So it does really sort of like help to like flatten out, and especially when you can't press. So I'm just going to mark the centre. Tracy's saying, I can't wait for the rulers to come in. Yeah, hopefully they shouldn't take too long. The fella is on holiday, but I don't know whether you can see, but that's my 1x8 inch ruler. So I'm just going to mark down 3 inches because this needs to be folded over by 1.5 inches. And pop my D-rings on. So just where I've sort of narrowed in that those edges, it's just meaning that the very end of the strap connector is sitting just inside the sort of outside of the connector, so it shouldn't, hopefully I shouldn't have any bits peeping out. You know, sometimes when you turn it over and you can sometimes see it a little bit, and it drives me nuts. I am a little bit OCD, so I just thought taking a sliver off might help. So, and it seems to have. So there, can you see how it's just slightly inside? I literally took, like, it was probably less than 1/8 of an inch that I took off. It was minute. So I'm just going to run some double-sided tape along the middle. Pop that to one side and then get my gusset piece. And then, oh yes, I chucked my pen on the floor, so I need to get another one. So again, I just want to mark my middle, and then I just need to mark along the center of this piece so that the strap connector can lie exactly along the middle. So I will be lining up the middle where the fold is along this line. So I'm not going to take it right to the end because I don't want any of my pen to be visible. The measurement is in the pattern. So I have my center marked here and my center marked there. And I'm basically just going to line up that center, 2 center lines, and then where I've pulled those edges in, it obviously has created a center seam, and I'm basically just going to line up that center seam with that pen mark, and then do the same on the other side. And that should make the whole thing nice and centered. And that, even though I'm doing 1 inch hardware as opposed to the 3/4 inch hardware, that is exactly the same as how you line it up. It's no different because I'm using a different size hardware. I'm basically just using 1 inch hardware because I'm low on 3/4 inch hardware. That is the only reason. Let's catch up with the chat. Amanda's here saying, sorry I'm late. That's fine. There's no such thing as late. You can always catch up. Donna's saying, I found the pliers that come with the key fob hardware good for squishing steams. Yes. Elaine saying, I wish I could undo sticky tape as quickly as you. I don't always undo it quickly. Elaine saying, that looks neat. I'm presuming meaning taken off those little tiny bits. Susan, I think these strap connectors give the bags more support and structure. Yeah, I mean, this is how I did these ones on the dolly, and there was another bag as well, and I think I might have like changed up the pattern to put the strap connectors on this way, and I just love it. Obviously it's how it's written in this pattern, but it's just so much better. So I'm keeping my threads nice and long, and then I'm basically just going to top stitch all the way along and basically just create a rectangle to stitch this connector in place. So again, top stitching, length of 4.5. Now just lift my needle ever so slightly before I turn. And then just before I get to sort of this stitching again, I'm just going to pull this first thread through. And then stop my stitching where I started. And then pull the other thread through. So basically it ends up being really nice and neat. I don't have any back stitching, and I'm just going to tie these threads off. And I usually put a little bit of duct tape over them as well. You can kind of melt them. I'm just going to put a little bit of duct tape just to help secure them. Oh, just remembered I didn't put any duct tape over the back of my hardware, which just helps protect the fabric from those metal prongs. So let's move on to our zipper panels. So measurements where you mark are in the pattern. Obviously you would be, if you're doing the 4 panels, you would mark all 4, but I'm doing the 2, so I've just marked each end as per the instructions. And I've just used a little bit of tape just to help keep those ends down. do it this way because I can see what I'm doing. One of the reasons that I do, I tend to try and do my zipper plackets in one instead of like in two pieces is because obviously it reduces the bulk where the zip is because you don't have a seam. It just kind of makes it a little bit easier. It does mean though that obviously the underside of your zipper placket is the same as the top side, so obviously you only do it this way if you're happy for the underside of the zipper placket to be the same as the top. I'm doing mine in the wool because like I say, the vinyl is a little bit too thick to do the plackets. It probably would be too difficult. Plus as well, my exterior is the wool and I just think it would look nicer to have it in the wool. Just turn them around so that they are matching. So I need to mark 1/2 inch down so that I can do a 90-degree turn. So I always line up the edge of my zipper with one of the lines of my ruler so that I know that this line is nice and straight. So I don't line it up against the cut edge, even if I think that's really straight. I always line it up against the edge of my zipper tape so I get a 90-degree angle and it's much neater. And basically fold on that line, nip it together and then turn the zipper tape to meet that fold. I do have a video on my channel which shows doing this in much more detail. And I usually just melt my ends together. You can run some stitches if you want to. Might have to on this one because I don't know whether it's quite going to meet. Oh, it might be all right. Obviously, if you're using a lighter, be careful not to burn yourself, especially if you're using a pin. You don't want to heat the pin up. You want to just use the flame enough to melt. Okay, so these strap connectors get folded in half and the centers marked. So I'm going to mark this center and I'm going to mark this center. And double-sided tape. I'm just going to use my pen as well, just so I can see where that is. So I'm just going to run some double-sided tape just along that top edge. So just basically from where that center mark is along to the end. And then line the zip. So that turn is just, it's about 1/8 of an inch away from that snip, and then fold in half. You can use some more double-sided tape if you want to keep it in place. Just bear in mind we are going to be removing this double-sided tape as well, and that is a very important part that you do need to take out. Once this is sewn, you do need to take out this double-sided tape. But it does just help keep it all in place as you're sewing. And just use a couple of clips as well if you want to. I'm going to do the other one as well before I start sewing. So this one gets done on this side. So wherever that center is, which it's there. Oh, my double-sided tape has stuck to my nail. And I like to line up the folded edges and then just work my way along, matching the edges, lining the edges up, pinching them together, and then, like I say, just pop a few clips in to help just keep it together. The double-sided tape should keep it together, but just anything to make life easier. So this needs to get sewn down, and it needs to get sewn at 3/8 of an inch. That is a really important measurement. So let's see. Well, I need to change. Yeah, I need to put my zipper foot on. Making sure I tighten it up fully so it doesn't pop off while I'm sewing. So yeah, so you need to make sure that this seam is sewn at 3/8. And if you haven't quite got it at 3/8, you can always go back and like stitch again to make sure that that is a 3/8 seam. Let's get rid of these loose threads. So we need to take out this double-sided tape because these seams need to get cut back. And this is a really important step. I did miss it with my first one because basically I just got too excited and wanted to get the bag finished. And even though I'd read the pattern and I was saying to myself, remember to cut those seams, remember to cut those seams, I just got ahead of myself and I totally forgot. And it does mean that the zipper, like the zipper placket, doesn't sit as well as what it could if you do this step. So it's absolutely worth taking those few seconds, those few minutes to do it. So what we need to do is we need to separate the zipper tape from those seams. And what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to cut this corner. And then I'm going to re-singe my zip tape just to make sure that it doesn't fray. So I'm just basically reducing the bulk as much as I can out of this corner. And then I'm going to get my Pinkin shears. And I'm going to trim back each of these seams, but not the zip tape. So I'm going to make sure I keep the zip tape out of the way. And I'm literally trimming it back by about half. Net saying I would think I would like to buy the templates for this bag. Yeah, I mean, I could see me making so many of these. I think templates would definitely be a good investment. I think obviously over in the US there is, I can't remember the name of the person who has them, but I did see in Siah's group that there is somebody who is doing the templates. Okie dokie. So I'm just pushing that corner out. Just make sure I've got it as pushed out as I possibly can. Yes, Jolie Creations. I remember now that you've said it. Have you hacked the interior and added extra pockets? I haven't. I have done it exactly how the pattern says. So I'm just going to use some clips. and pin or clip these edges. And then I'm going to top stitch around. I should be on a pattern band, but might have to succumb to this one. It's just the sort of bag I would go for. I mean, in all fairness, it's not like the type of bag that I would typically carry, but I'm definitely going to make myself one, like as a little going out bag. I bought it because it's an absolute like Neve bag, like it's 100% a bag that she would have. But this is probably going to be mine because it's green and it's wool. But I bought it because it's absolutely her style. As soon as I saw Siah making it at Christmas, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to, like, if she does write that pattern, I have to get it. Neve had a bright green bag that it's literally fell to bits, and I took all the hardware and everything off it. I've got it all in a bag. So I'm going to have to see if I can get some really bright green vinyl. And when I say bright green, like I literally mean like bright green, and see if I can sort of recreate that bag for her, because it's pretty much exactly this shape. So I'm going to just go round all the sides. Oh, except I need to be on my top stitching length. This is going to be quite bulky for me here, which is why I definitely needed the 19 needle. Suzanne would make a great gift, absolutely, because they're so quick to make as well. They don't take much to cut out, especially not once you've kind of made your first and you sort of know what you're doing. And you know what I was thinking as well? That this would be, if I hadn't already used it, this would be an excellent pattern for the wavy black vinyl that was in the, oh, I'm a little bit out at the top there, but never mind. I think I've fed my zip too far in at the top there, but that's okay. Like I say, this one's for me, so it is fine. But yeah, that wavy vinyl that was in the bag maker's box a few boxes ago would be amazing. So I'm just going to mark my centers on both of these. So, right. I always just double check that I'm getting the right way on. So I basically want mine to open this way. Yes. So right sides together. So right side of zipper, placket to right side of exterior, and I'm going with my front exterior first. So I want my zipper to open from left to right. So I'm popping a clip in first, and I'm just going to put some little snips all the way along, just a couple of mil, so about 1/8 of an inch. More clips than this. Tracy's saying I've still got the wavy vinyl. I think the wavy vinyl would make an amazing one of these. I might have to get some more. So when you're clipping this together, obviously because it's a curve, it will sort of roll. So don't think that you're doing it wrong. It is right. And then you just want to baste this in place. Yeah, so I'm just double checking I've got it on the right way and that I've not missed any bits. It's all basted on all right. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Obviously your other end is going to be on the opposite side because the back will be this way. And I just clip that middle bit and then put some small snips in. And we're just doing exactly the same thing. So just lots of clips to keep it in place. Tracy's saying, oh no, another pattern I've got to buy. Yeah, it is like, I mean, technically my band's over, but I am still supposed to be good-ish. I'm supposed to be working my way through the patterns I've already got, but I could not resist. Okay, so again, I'm just double checking that my basting is all caught in and it's all fine. So I also think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of rivets into this gusset. Let's just get some out. Don't think you can ever have too many rivets. Donna's saying she's got it too. She's too scared to cut into it. Let's go with this size. Okay, let me get my punch. So I'm going to go about 1/4 of an inch down in the centre. Just make sure that's gone all the way through. And the same on the other side. Oh my goodness, I am so cold. Oh, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a slurp of tea, warm me up, and get my rivet press out. And set these rivets. Just chuck my hole punch on the floor. Julie's saying, late at the party, did you only snip the sides, not the placket? Yes. Yes, just the sides. And then it fits so well. Let me just pick up all the things that I've thrown on the floor. Brian says, I'm going to have to spend my day off today clucking up these. Yes. Elaine, since she's got her fan heater on, I don't blame it. I would have mine on if it wasn't so loud, and it would just be so distracting in the background. So pop the gusset on, and we'll put up the exterior, and then we'll move on to the interior. So how I like to do mine's pretty much how Keziah did hers in her video, is clip my straight pieces and then match up the side pieces and basically clip all the way down where it's straight. And we'll be using lots of clips. Like I say, this vinyl is quite sort of strong and sturdy, so it will kind of want to sort of fight against me, so I will be using lots and lots of clips. Pam saying I can't get warm either. It'll be the same for me and you, Pam. Obviously we're not far from each other, so but yeah, I couldn't believe it earlier on when it started trying to snow. So we have these little bits here where we're just going to clip into the gusset, not into the front, just into the gusset on these rounded bits to get it to sit nicely. So again, just sort of a couple of mil, and I like to snip about every centimetre. And then pull it up to meet. So I'm just using some clips first to make sure that it does meet. And once I'm happy that it does, I'm going to use my stapler. I don't want to use my stapler until I'm happy that it does meet and that it's okay. And popping some staples just around this corner so that when I sew this corner, I'm not trying to navigate clips and my seam guide, and it does just make life easier. Like I say, I haven't chosen the easiest of vinyls to work with, but I just love the colour so much. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's just a bit of a git to work with. I'll probably put, well, I would put a fair few staples in if I hadn't run out. Let me just top them up. You can tell I use my stapler like all the time. I'm forever putting new staples in. To one side because I'm going to need to use it again. And then I'm going to use my seam guide because I want to make sure I'm nice and accurate and I get that 3/8 seam all the way around. So I'm going back down to my construction stitch length, which is 2.5. Elaine's saying, how clever to use a stapler. Wait until you see my staple remove it, Elaine. It's so good. I just take out those staples. Some people just leave the staples in, and then obviously because we're going to be trimming the seam back, you know, you can just cut the staples out. I am far too accident prone for that to happen. I would cut into a staple and probably send said staple into my eye, so I don't do that. Brian says, I've just received some neon coloured staples. Oh my goodness, I'm hoping they're easier to find when taking them out. That is amazing. Susie, and I've just bought a staple and remover, a real game changer. So I'm trimming this back with my pink and shears. I'm not trimming back this top sort of inch and a quarter. I probably should go round this stitching again, actually, just because this vinyl is so thick. So I'm going to do that. I think Siah does that in her video and in her pattern as well. So I'm just going to run a second row of stitching just behind that first row. It's a really good opportunity as well, that if sort of your stitching's wonky at any point, that you can sort of neaten it up. But especially if both of your pieces are vinyl, running a second row of stitching really does help to reinforce. And then I am just going to open up this seam and basically just run a basting stitch within the seam allowance to keep that seam open. And the same on the other side. And then I'm just going to repeat the process on the other side. Every time I use this vinyl, I absolutely curse it because it's so difficult to work with, but I've got so much of it. Like I say, I bought it without sort of seeing it, and I was like, yeah, I'll have like 5 meters because I just love the colour. You live and you learn. I'm just making sure that these edges are matching up nicely. I am just going to clip these zip tails out of the way as well, just so that they don't get caught up. Janet's saying I've just bought them to help me as I have arthritis in my hands. Yeah, they do make such a difference. I think anything to make life easier is all good in my book. Rita's saying she's loving her new stapler. This corner does just go together so well. Chuck them on the floor. And then I'm just going to run my second row of stitching around before I trim it this time. Decals come a bit loose. Does not like sticking to this vinyl at all. And then just like I did before, from about an inch and a quarter down, I'm just going to trim this seam back to about half, taking care not to go through my stitching. And then just baste those two seams open. And I'm just making sure that when I'm basting these seams open, like I said before, I'm just making sure that it's within that seam allowance. so when I put my lining and my exterior all together, that those basting stitches won't be visible. Who's make stapler and remover, please? I have mine listed in my Amazon list, which is on my which is in the description. The ones that I've got are listed in there. So I'm going to do my slip pocket. So I've got mine marked as per the pattern. You can press if you want to. I probably might press as well as using some double-sided tape. So I'm just going to fold these long edges to that line, basically just to create my seam. Just get my iron and just give them a little press to make those edges nice and crisp. And then fold it wrong sides together. And just give that a little press as well, just to make that bottom seam nice and crisp. And then I'm just going to baste along the top, just to keep those two seams together. And then add my accent piece. So the accent piece is sort of much bigger. Mine's actually been cut bigger as well than the pattern piece, because I actually just cut it with a ruler rather than cutting it with the pattern piece. So mine is actually bigger again. But I actually do like it to be a bit bigger, and I'll show you why. So I'm just going to line it up so that it's just below that line. And then on this side, I'm going to fold these edges to meet. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. And then fold it over. And what that means is you should get it nice and even on both sides, because you've got this overhang that meets and is lined up. So your front and your back accent piece should be nice and even. And I'm just going to top stitch that. And then just cut off the excess. So I'm going to just take one of my pieces. Oh, that centre hasn't marked very well on that one. And this is where my 3/4 ruler comes in really handy. So you need to centre this 3/4 of an inch up. And I'm just going to find the centre of my pocket and just line it up against that straight edge. So you can pin to keep it in place. Obviously, if you're using like water resistant canvas, waterproof canvas, just use a little bit of tape or something to keep it lined up, and then just sew down these 3 edges, back stitching at the top, just for extra strength. I always backstitch in the corner slightly as well, again just to sort of try and create like a little bit extra strength for the, I don't know if anything like me, but you probably overload your pockets, put too much in them. So I haven't experimented putting a zipper pocket in yet. I probably will, but I haven't yet. Tammy's saying hi all. Janet's saying love the lining fabric. Me too. It's green and it's leafy print, so I love it. Donna's saying I wish we could get the Sew Tight magnets over here. I haven't seen them. I did watch the Siah, Barb and Susan live, but I didn't get to see it all because I was doing other things at the same time. So I must have missed that bit. I'll have to have a look. So this is just going together in exactly the same way as the exterior. Can hear like a knocking outside and I'm like, what's that noise? And then I've just thought it's probably a bird in the gutter. My house is single story at the back, so the room that I'm in is just single story, so literally the room that I'm in is like the gutter is like literally just right above this window, and we get loads of birds. And I'm thinking I can't work out what that noise is. I'm trying to think if it's the dogs. I'm thinking, well, it shouldn't be the dogs, but that'll be what it is. It'll be a bird. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to sew all the way around. On the next one, I'm going to leave an opening. Must remember to leave an opening. So I'm going to start my seam allowance at 3/8. And I'm going to stitch down for around about 2-3 inches, and then I'm going to increase my seam to 1/2 inch. I'm going to need to take them out because I've got the pins in. Now, controversial, I know I'm sewing over the pins, but I'm doing so very carefully. And I have the pins in this direction. I don't have the pins in, I have them in at a horizontal, not a vertical. I couldn't think which way around they were then. So I'm being very careful to watch where my needle is hitting, so that it's not hitting the pins. But what that's doing is it's helping keep all this excess material nice and flat, and I'm not having to take them out as I'm going, and that fabric shifting as I'm sewing. Like I say, I know it's controversial. I probably get people in the comments saying I'd never sew over pins. I'm doing so extremely carefully. Oh, got a little bit excess fabric here. Might get a little tuck, but I can live with that. And you can see when I'm going over the pins, I slow right down. So if I was to hit a pin, I would do it much slower. And then as I come back up, I'm going back to that 3/8 seam. Oh, the magnet was used to hold the slip pocket in place. Oh, I'll have to go and have a look at that bit again. Okay, so I'm going to trim this back again, doing exactly what I did before, leaving the very top of that seam as is. Trimming back to about 1/4, maybe it's just to see it under. And basting those seams open. This floor is so desperate for hoover. Sue saying she sews over pins but carefully. Oh yeah, I always do it carefully. I try to do everything carefully, to be fair, Sue. I'm so accident prone. It's unreal. Right, okay, so I am going to make a couple of marks so that I remember to leave my opening, because we all know how forgetful I am. The double-sided tape can be handy, Donna, if your material is, it's quite springy and it doesn't want to stay flat. It can be helpful to do both. if when you're putting this like corner together, if you don't feel like your material is sort of evenly distributed, you know, just rework it. And a little bit like clips, if you need to use lots of pins, use lots of pins. There's no such thing as too many pins or too many clips. Use as many as you need to. And then exactly the same thing, starting at that 3/8 seam for a couple of inches and then increasing it to the 1/2 inch. And then remembering to leave this seam open. And I'm going to use a 90-degree turn because it just is easier to get that seam to close. And then I'm only trimming back where I've stitched, and obviously not at the top. So I'm just going to baste these open and then turn it through to the right side. And then we put together, obviously if you're putting your handles into the bag, they would need to be basted in at this point. Let me just trim back some of these threads where I've basted. Don't want them getting caught. So yeah, so if you're putting your handle in to your bag into the seam, this would need to be basted in place before we get to this stage. So I like my pocket, usually if it's a zipper pocket, I'll have the zipper pocket to the back, but as we've only got a slip pocket, I'm going to have the slip pocket to the back. So I'm going to put that inside. I'm just going to double check that I'm happy with how that looks so far, and I am. So I'm just going to line up the seams first on each corner. And then just put a clip where those centres match. Match the centres in that middle panel. And then just clip all the way around the outside. Donna's saying, I wonder what this would look like bigger. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably give it a go, you know me, Donna. Very rare I leave anything alone. So I'm going to stitch round 3/8. Obviously, I am on a flatbed machine, so this is not the easiest task in the world. If you have a machine with a free arm, it will be a lot easier. But obviously, with this being a flatbed, it isn't, like I say, it isn't the easiest. Sorry, I'm just making sure that that lining is sitting nice and evenly. That's it. So I'm just going to have to keep maneuvering this bag around, trying not to get the clips caught on the machine too much. And I'll just be taking it sort of fairly slowly because, you know, I want it to look nice. So it is just a case of kind of squishing it under the machine. Sometimes it will kind of jump out, so you might need to kind of go back and neaten up your stitches, but that's all right. Quite often we'll run, like we did before, a second row of stitches. And that is the perfect opportunity to sort of straighten your stitches if you haven't quite got your seam allowance right. Okay, so I am going to trim back this part of the seam with my pink and shears. It is quite bulky, so I'm being very careful to kind of not slip. So see, I'm having to use quite a bit of pressure to go through, but it will just help that seam sit better. Because it is sort of on the curve. I'll just do the same on the other side. If you can't get through this seam with pink and shears, just clip some notches into this curve. Just make sure not to go through your stitching. If you've put your handle into these edges, probably wouldn't trim them back. I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of the bulk out. And then we're going to turn through, which is the most difficult part for me because I am still suffering with pain in my finger. So if I feel like I need to swear, I might just mute my mic. I did swear the other day when I was pulling through the yellow one because I'd done some quilting, totally mucked up the quilting, but that's another story. But the quilting just kind of made it like much more sort of structured. And oh my goodness, it was so hard to pull through. And because I still can't, I'm still really struggling to put pressure on this side of my finger. It's still really painful. So yeah, there was a few sort of not really bad swear words, just, you know, little swear words, but okay. Donna's saying, I'm at this point now, got to pull my big girl knickers on and get on with it. Yeah. I mean, that's me every day, Donna, but that's basically because that's all that fits. Oh, yes. This is totally me. So just while I've got this open, kind of using my nails to kind of push, well, like my nails and my finger to kind of push those seams through. And then unfortunately I am going to push it back through again so that I can top stitch, because I do like to top stitch from the top. I like my bobbin thread to be the one that is visible. I don't like turning bags too much, but this one would be a pain to kind of try and top stitch from the other way because it's smaller. So I am basically just going to use my fingers to sort of roll this seam round and pop some clips in, and then the same on this side. Julie's saying looking beautiful. Donna's saying looking gorgeous. Yeah, it's a total me bag. Wool and green and leafy print. I mean, yeah, it's just me all rolled up into one. I'm just going to push this through a little bit more so it's not sitting. Can I ask what the difference is, whether it's inside or outside when it's top stitching? So with this way, I can top stitch from this side. If it was the other way, I would be top stitching from this side and my bobbin thread would be underneath, and I wouldn't be able to see exactly where this seam was. It's sometimes what I'll do is I'll kind of pull it and top stitch from this way, but the opening of this bag's just not kind of big enough to do that. So yeah, it's just a case of turning it through again, and I think it's worth it to do it so that I can top stitch it how I want to top stitch it. So basically just going to squish it under my machine, and I do always try to get my first my needle in a side seam because I just prefer it. I don't know why. And then I am just going to take it really slowly and try and get this top stitching as neat as possible. And I'm just pulling this sort of so that it's taut, but I'm not stretching it. I'm just making sure that it's lying sort of nice and flat, that my lining isn't riding up. You want this to be out of the seam. You don't want this to be tucked under. And as I say, it is just a case, especially when you're sewing on a flatbed. Like, I wish I had the space and the funds for a cylinder arm, but I do not. I think literally Andy would divorce me if I tried to squeeze anything else in this house. And I'm just making sure that this is still clipped so that the zip hasn't sort of worked its way underneath and gets caught. I'm liking this foot. I mean, I do love my zipper foot, but I am liking this foot. Sabine, I'm admiring your sewing skills, Deb. I made one today and it took me almost 6 hours. Well, my first one took me longer than this one. Chilly saying I was moved to an outside workshop 4 months ago, so we ran out of room in the house. Yeah. If we had the space for one, I would have one built. Okay, let's close up this. I'll hang on to them actually. So I'm literally just going to pop my fingers into where that opening is at either side and pull it taut and pop some clips in. And just close that up. I can imagine it's absolutely like freezing in an outside workshop as well. It's like, especially if it doesn't sort of like have like dedicated like proper heating. So one of the things I like to do when I've made a bag is I will push the bag sort of flat against my table and push the lining like into the bag to make sure that the lining's sitting all the way into the bottom. And then I'm going to put my zip on. So you just want to make sure that your zip is, so you've got it facing the right way, and then usually what I do is flip it over. And I didn't mark the back of my zip, which I should have done, but hopefully I can get it on okay. It's a little bit out, so I'm going to try again. Because my zip is a touch out where where I fed it too far into the zipper placket on one side. But like I say, it's a me bag, it's fine. I can live with that. That lines up so much better. Just straighten that zip. And then pop my zip end on. So again, like with most hardware, I do like to just put a little bit of glue inside the zip end. I don't put loads in, just sort of a dot, just to sort of help like the zip sort of stick. You don't want to put loads of glue in, because obviously what you don't want to do is you don't want it to sort of all sort of spurt out. And then pop my handle on. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love it. So there we go. All done. And I haven't actually seen many made with like a wool vinyl blend, but I think it's come out really, really well. Zipper placket, I'm quite happy with. Like I say, the zip doesn't kind of quite meet at the top, but that was because I fed the zip too far into the zipper placket. But it's a me bag, so it's okay. But yeah, I'm loving how it looks in wool. It's really it's really sort of classy looking, I think, as well. It looks sort of so different. I mean, obviously I've got these 3 that I've made. So this was the first one that I made. This was the one where I forgot to trim it down, and it has made a little bit of a difference in how well this sits. Not massively, but you can just tell a little bit. So that taking out that double-sided tape and trimming that seam back in the zipper panel, the zipper placket, is worth doing. Absolutely. So with this one, because these ones are getting sent to my daughter, I just basically bought some chains, bought different sizes, so she can just interchange the chains with whichever bag she wants to have. And then made the pink one. This one's got the 3/4 hardware on. This one's got the 1-inch hardware on, the same as this one. And then this yellow one, where I absolutely mucked up the quilting, because these horizontal lines were supposed to be here, not here. But in typical Deb style, I was watching the telly, got engrossed in something else, and just wasn't concentrating on what I was doing, but then I actually don't mind how it's turned out. I quite like it, but it wasn't what I was aiming for. But then this one's got the 3/4 hardware as well, and some really sort of sunny like lining fabric as well. So I mean, I've literally made, I don't think I only bought the pattern on Friday because that was when my ban was up, even though I did buy one pattern when I was banned. I think it was only Friday it came out anyway, wasn't it? But anyway, or Saturday. I might have actually just bought it on Saturday. But so yeah, so literally I made these two Friday night, I think, and then this one Saturday or yesterday, or I might have made these Saturday morning and this one yesterday. But yeah, I don't think they take a great deal of time to make, and I think once you've made your first one, they just go together so easily. I think it's a really well written pattern, and the pattern pieces go together really easily. I know sort of some people were sort of a little bit worried about this, but it lies so well. I think if you follow the pattern, you know, you cut out these this excess seam allowance, you snip when you're basting this in, and then when you've put your lining into your exterior, if you either use pinking shears on this seam or cut notches in, it will sit perfectly and it will be absolutely fine. You can absolutely do it. Jilly's saying, where did you get your chain from? I got it from Amazon because I needed it quickly. But I think Michelle from Bags of Difference has them, I think, but don't quote me on that. Jilly saying, love it. Sue saying, gorgeous bag, it's so me. Pam saying, love it. Janet saying, it looks great. Nanette's lovely bag. Brian saying, classy, so not such a me bag then. Sabine saying, a lovely bag. Oh, thank you so much. Sue saying, little stitch of saws is looking at getting the chains in. Yes, she is. I just don't think she's got them in yet, but I think Michelle from Bags of Difference possibly has them, but like I say, I might be wrong. But because I want to send these off to Neve this week, I did just order a set off Amazon, and I'll probably order a nicer set at some point that can just get put on for her. Tracy's saying you sew so fast. I don't think I sew fast at all, and I've had comments saying I'm too slow. But yeah, I think I'm quite methodical. So sometimes it's sort of I'll feel as if I'm being quite slow, and then things will come together quite quickly at the end. But yes, I hope you've enjoyed sewing the Annabelle with me today. Like I say, this is not a very me bag. I love it, and I like the fact that this, because I did the same length strap but didn't sew it into the straps, I've got it on clasps, so it's given me a little bit extra length. So because I'm a little bit on the chunkier side and I need a little bit more space here, I think that's actually worked quite well for me. That has actually worked out perfectly. So I think if I was going to add the handle in, I might add an extra couple of inches for me personally, just to give me that extra space with the bag. But yes, I love it. I mean, it obviously doesn't go with my purple t-shirt, my purple hair, but I'm not dyeing my hair green. I love green, but I'm not dyeing my hair green. Jilly's saying, I love the bows on SiahSwag. Yeah, they were perfect, and I think Amber did them as well, and they just looked beautiful. So yes, so thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. A little bit different because obviously normally Monday I go live and just do a chatty video, but I had been planning on sharing a fabric haul, but unfortunately it hasn't even been sent yet. so I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that one. And then I won't have a chatty video next week because I'm away at an event in Birmingham. Let's hope my train doesn't get cancelled like the last time I was in Birmingham. So yes, I just thought I'd try and come on and just do another sewing video, which has worked out really quite well. I'm going to do the Vicky May on Thursday, so if you'd like to join me on Thursday, if you're watching this on a replay, please post in your comments if you've made the bag, what you've made it in. I'd love to know. If you're in the Facebook group, please share your makes. I'm really nosy. I love to see people's makes. But thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. If you've enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. It really does help me with the YouTube gods get seen by other people. Please do consider subscribing if you have enjoyed it. Thank you to everybody for watching. I've really had a lovely afternoon sewing with you all, and for everybody who's joined me live, and if you're watching on replay, thank you very much for watching. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I will see you all on a video, whether it's a podcast on Wednesday, video on Thursday, or whether I get the chance to come on and do any more sewing before then. So enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon. Bye.